is not showing you the curvature of the horizon. It absolutely isn't. He says,
Okay.
you can't
No.
see that. That stuff's flat. Well, I guarantee you
He
that if you
said
talk
even
to
the
Neil
he
deGrasse
named the
Tyson
Meyer.
and give him the facts, he will concede that of course you can see the curvature of the horizon. It's not great, but it's readily apparent at 128,000 feet.
Now I will
I'm
also say
gonna
really
post a
quick.
talk that I gave on this very
Okay.
topic. You can take a
Yeah.
look at it, see what you think.
Hold on, guys. I don't want anyone to interrupt, but please let's try to be concise with our comments. Thank you.
So, John, there were students that just put a rocket up 475,000 feet. That's like 90 miles or something. And no fisheye lens, completely flat.
Who did this?
A bunch of students. I can link a video in the chat.
475 miles? I don't think so.
Yeah,
No,
I want to see that.
475 feet.
475 feet.
90 miles. Yes.
Oh, 90 miles. Yeah. 90 miles, you can definitely see the curvature. Now, if the video, well,
I'd
if
like
the
you to
picture
explain the video,
doesn't,
then I'll post it soon.
yeah, well, I can prove it by looking at the video from any Falcon rocket. I can prove it just simply because first of all, well, I can prove it to the satisfaction of some people, probably not to yours, because I can show you. Let me get this talk that I gave on this topic.
Full access to the fisheye lens, though, John.
I mean,
you cannot prove it.
So
Without
these
full
Falcon
access,
videos you're referring to, these Falcon videos you're referring to, I believe, I mean, the video I saw, it also inverted the other way, so the curvature went converted. So
Yeah,
you're right. You are right. The video I saw did too. So you have to look at it. Excuse me, on both sides. Fisheye lenses always produce a curvature, like a frown in the top part and a smile in the bottom, right? So you have to analyze them. You have to use your judgment, but there's no question.
Was the curvature that we
use your
saw in the
judgment,
video
you'll
from the fisheye?
Sorry?
Hold on, man. Hold on.
are
Yeah,
you
nobody heard what you said because he was still talking. Guys, please don't interrupt and please be concise with your statements. Thank you.
At least concise enough that we can go on one thing at a time, at least, because yeah, if it ends up being like 5, 6, 7, 8 things, and then yeah, it's just we'd have to be able to go through one thing at a time. Yeah.
I want to ask the guy a question. When there's a moment.
Well, if there's kind of a pause at this exact moment, yeah, I mean,
so why in your opinion, is it John? Is it why in your opinion do they never have cameras on the front of these rockets and spacecraft that go up into space? And why have we never seen a selfie of an astronaut going up into space? Why do we never see that? Why do we always get cameras pointed down at the Earth with a fisheye lens? Always.
First of all, it's not true.
Our minds.
Falcons do have
universal pictures and whatever going around for ages. We know what the Earth looks like. We've been shown it so many times. Why are we continually given those images and not given any forward-facing images? It'd be way cooler to see the shuttle docking into the ISS than to be looking back.
They do show that. They do show that. They show that.
But we don't see it from takeoff all the way there, do we?
Well, you know what you see on takeoff is a blue sky turning black. That's about it.
I just want to see a camera that goes from the very beginning to the very end. I don't want to see
it's not so it's always, I just want to point out, it's always something, right? There's always something that you want to see. For years it's been, I just want to see a real video of 24-hour sun in Antarctica. I want to see, why has nobody ever posted? There's tons of real videos of 24-hour sun in Antarctica, and you can talk to anybody who works there. It's not something they talk about because everybody knows there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Now that's out of the way. It's always going to be something, and when you get that, it's not going to help. You're not going to change your mind.
No, John,
I just posted a video of the space shuttle.
Yeah, that's not true at all. I think there's a huge shift after their trip. There's been a huge shift of people that have, for them, it's like very near verified or even completely verified.
Right, and they're all saying they've.
Hold on, don't interrupt.
Yeah,
dude.
you're right.
Why are you doing that? We don't want to have to.
Please.
Oh man. Please don't do that. Just let people speak. We're trying to have it open for everybody, but to do that, we have to be able to be respectful. I mean, we could move into the stage channel though if we need to, and like that would be a smaller actual panel, and then there's like the audience and the stage thing, which we could do. But anyways, I was right in the middle of speaking, I think. So what was I saying?
People changing their mind.
Oh yeah, that there's been, yeah. So I would say, like, from my general sense of it, like from their trip, however people perceived everything that came out of it, there probably is some percentage of people that are saying it's like completely fake and they're all actors and stuff. I know like of a few. I saw 1 or 2 live streams that people were. So there's going to be like some. I'm thinking it might only end up being like maybe 15% or something. Might kind of just because they're claiming that there's still no 24-hour sun there, and they're claiming it like a fact. They're saying there's not one there. There's not one there. You know, so they're kind of, yeah. That's I guess that kind of path. And then
And
that,
John,
but that might only be like 15% as I'm kind of estimating. However, there's been this massive, what maybe like probably, I don't know what percentage that we'd have to say, but of people who now indeed like, to them, it's like, you know, confirmed or like very near confirmed, like 99% or whatever, to the point to where, you know, yeah, to that level. I mean, I know, yeah, there's so many factors because there's a lot of other footage you can find too. People trying to say that them being there, anything like that, but there's tons of other footage at Union Glacier that probably they've never even seen. So,
Well, and it's kind of my point. My point wasn't the people who continue to maintain. It's that, I mean, what I'm hearing now is most people saying, well, I never said that there wasn't a 20, or I've said, I always said there could be, right? People are saying those kinds of things. And so they've moved on from that. But it's just, it's always going to be something else, right? It's still the, well, I don't care that there's a 24-hour. We know that they always lie to us. Well, if you know that they always lie to you, it's always going to be something.
John, you always say it's always going to be something. But the reason why we doubted the 24-hour sun was for very good reasons. The first 2 videos that we even saw out of nowhere, right, when we were going through this whole journey years ago, were proven to be fakes. They had looped footage, okay? And then we found out all the webcams down there were missing 8 hours out of every day, the exact 8 hours that would prove it. So don't act like it's always something. John.
I'd like to know that too. Why
what
would
he's saying is true. That was the available information, and we had everyone in the community, even on because back then, like, well, there was times where it was like the 24/7 Flat Earth server, and then it was Gem Pandas for like many years. And the Gem Pandas, like a lot of the Globe folks, would be more there, but like a lot of them had expertise in a lot of fields and stuff as well. So like I'm just saying, a lot of these things were run through. Meaning that like everyone was scouring all the information possible that we were aware of.
However, can I address that? Because I don't believe anything that you just said. What were the 2 videos that were proven to be faked? Because there was dozens of them. So which 2 out of the dozens were faked?
I know one. There is one that has the clouds repeating. I get that too. But I mean, the point is that it wasn't faked. It was looped in a way such that you saw the same clouds twice. There's no reason to fake it because it happens.
Yeah, and the original footage was available too that didn't have that break. So I don't know how you could say that was faked. And in terms of the webcams, so you're just talking about the webcams at the South Pole. The webcams at all the Australian bases didn't have 9 hours missing. You're talking about one particular station.
No, all of them in Antarctica.
No, it was just the South Pole. If you look at what Sharon, actually, he sent a query to the South Pole. Nothing to do with the Australian bases. They all had 24-hour webcams with no missing gaps. He was just concerned about one gap, one particular station out of dozens.
The Australian ones? What are you saying?
Yeah, so the whole phenomenon. Yeah. So there's a lot to go through, really. So the thing is, like, in terms of like the earliest I've seen, and if anyone has any additional to fill this in would be great, but the earliest I've seen that on ALE's website, they have pictures from like the 1980s where they were at a different camp called Patriot Glacier, something like that. I know it has the word Patriot in it.
Patriot Hills.
Patriot Hills, you said?
Yeah, Patriot Hills.
Hills.
But that's just one site, Gio. I mean, that's
Well, let me just say, so there's pictures of them like in the 80s being there, but then apparently that kind of transferred over to become Union Glacier, meaning the resources, the whole camp. They've, clearly like Union Glacier was a better spot, maybe with the mountain and the beauty and whatever it is, whatever the reasons are, it was a better runway or something. So yeah, that ended up turning into Union Glacier. And then the earliest footage I've seen of Union Glacier is from 2012, and it was a pretty small camp at that point. And there is a shot of the mountain with the sun peeking out behind that southern mountain. Now, if that footage existed in 2012, that would have been, even before like 2014, 2015. And could we have all just missed it? Like nobody actually found that video, even though it was there. I mean, it took me a lot of work to even find it recently. Because that would have been fairly early, because that, as any indication, because the thing is, like, even in the 90s, the early 2000s, there still was like no footage of the sun, in Antarctica, essentially, until like 2014, 2015, right when Flat Earth started erupting and coming out. Now, all of a sudden, there were, for the first time ever, there were like actual claimed to be footages of the actual 24-hour sun in Antarctica for the first time ever in like 14, 15. Like Anthony Powell and Robert Schwartz, those guys were two of the major ones, and they're both like involved in like they've done things with Netflix and BBC and a lot of major media stuff. Those two guys they put out a lot of it. And then there's others as well. And then, the ones that they were talking about where the 8 hours was cut out. And then, I mean, that is just strange as well. And those early ones in 2014, 15, that's like, in terms of the fake ones, like those were the ones to really focus on. And not everyone has even seen, because there's so many different ones that people might be talking about. I don't think they're all fake, but I do still absolutely that there's some that are. So.
But I mean, I think you've mentioned that 2 out of the dozens you regarded to be fake. One of them, was edited, but the unedited one is available, and I'm not clear how.
Well, I never said 2. I never said 2.
Somebody just said there were 2. Yeah.
All right, if someone else said that, I don't know, but.
Yeah, but when there was dozens of them, dozens of webcams. I mean, the evidence was there prior.
No, there really wasn't any. That's what I'm saying. Like,
it wasn't.
When was the first? What is the earliest documented video?
I'm not talking about the earliest. I'm just saying that there were dozens that existed.
You know what? Can I make a point here real quick? I was just listening and I want to jump in just because I kind of hear what's going on. And, that regardless of, whether they were able to take only 12 hours at a time or whatever it was, there might be something that, was put together and might be all real footage that isn't in the discussion or at the point. But the point being made to begin with was, we see a lot of fakes, images, and why are they faking things? And then reverting back to like, oh, well, you thought the 24-hour sun was fake. Now we know it's real. And then there was an admittance that there was clouds repeating and things like that. So, I mean, we talked about like the long play on this, like, what are they going to use this for as far as like proving to flat earthers things, And that's it kind of seems like it's presenting itself right now. Like, oh, well, you thought this, and the 24-hour sun proves that all the space images must be real because you were doubting those. And it's just a total, false comparison, because there's something that you can't actually verify with this 24-hour sun. We've done that now or whatever, maybe, if you think that that's the case. And so, you can't go to space, and, they're admitted CGI images in space and all these other things. So it doesn't just give a clear to all the other things that flat earthers are doubting because they doubted this, which almost seems like they were giving out things that were clouds repeating and stuff. Almost, you could get really conspiratorial with a long game on it, like they're putting out things that are questionable on purpose, so that then it seems like the people were doubting it, and now they're proven right. So everything else they were doubting must also be real. And
you think there was a grand conspiracy to keep people from understanding that there was a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, despite the fact that thousands of people work there, including my daughter, every season back, not talking about how there isn't, there is. Just hold on a sec. not talking about it in any way, just accepting. When people who work in Antarctica, the people who went down there this time, just said, the people that work at Union Glacier, they're not like awestruck about, my God, there's a 24. Everybody knows there's a 20. Nobody was trying to make you think there wasn't. We were trying to get you to understand that there was.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the speculation happened, however it was, for whatever reason, because there wasn't definitive enough footage, and you admitted yourself there was one where the clouds repeated. Why are we being shown videos of clouds repeating?
Video. Yeah, but that was just the
Right,
edited version. If you look at the
fine.
original,
wait. I'm not saying I think there's a grand conspiracy. I'm saying the way it's played out, with whatever was available, regardless if it was intentional or not, it was really hard to find something that was definitive without clouds repeating or edits or all these other things that made it seem like, regardless if it was intentional or not, made it seem like maybe there's not, because we don't have enough evidence at this point to know for sure. And that's undeniable. Because we looked
just
everywhere.
Always something. I mean, I wish you would just
at least appreciate that
it really is always going to be something. There's
right, but my point
is going to be something else that you need to see.
What about
you saying that? I'm saying we need to avoid saying, oh, it's always something, and now we've proved the 24-hour sun, so everything else you were doubting, of course, must be real too. That's my
just
point.
examine just be honest with yourself. How many of you know that it will always be something? There's never going to be enough proof for you. You'll always want a camera facing forward. You'll always want to see an astronaut on the way up. You'll always want to see something else.
All right.
Just be honest with yourself about that.
Well, let me speak. Let me speak on it though. Let's just chill on that and just like have a conversation. Sorry, let me just say like, all right. So here's the thing. Like, as far as I know, like John, let's say in 1997, I was alive then. You were alive then. So in 97, if you were an American citizen like we were, and we're just going about our lives, and do you think you could have found any footage of a 24-hour sun in Antarctica?
Well, there wasn't really an internet to go to at that time. So, there was very little on the internet compared to.
Could you go to a library? Could you go anywhere? Could you see it on TV? Anything?
I don't think I doubt that there were cameras that could do that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there were cameras that could do that. But once again, nobody would have thought to do it because everybody knew that there was a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. This is not a secret.
Can I jump in?
You could honestly come to the conclusion of it being there simply on the basis of 6 months apart, 45 north and 45 south. 6 months apart, they have mirror images of the path of the sun. There's no reason to assume that it wouldn't have been a 24-hour sun once you got down past the 60. There was never a reason to make the assumption.
You don't understand the point at all. They have
he's right. No, he's right.
The Discovery Channel.
He's right. What he just said is correct.
He's right. What? There's no reason to think except that.
Yes, the arc of the sun path. The arc of the sun path gives it away. He's absolutely right.
Gives what away, Gio?
That the arc of the sun in the north, as it's arcing, like he said, at 45. If you continue that arc as you get further north, it would end up being a 24-hour sun because the whole path of the arc of the sun the arc of the path of the sun levels out so much and it's what it's doing. It's kind of leveling out, and then you get the whole 24-hour sun. And in the south at 45, it's doing the mirror of the north, meaning the whole rising south of east and setting south of west. That's already arcing that way. So if you were to go, it's the same thing. So if you were to go south, it's why it's a magnetic field. So if you're going to go south, it's already arcing that way. So it would just completely make sense that if you continue traveling that way, just like it does in the north, you would end up with a 24-hour sun.
Yeah, and because you're you travel, you see the arc from the northern hemisphere, you see the sun kind of arcing down, looping down below the northern horizon, and as you go around the curve of the Earth to the north, that arc comes up because you're going around the curve of the Earth, and now that whole curve is above you. All right.
That's affirming the.
Let's let Regis get in because I originally go ahead.
So, the curve of the Earth, right? But going to
No,
other
not
astronomy-
that. I'm not saying curve of the Earth. No, I'm just saying the
No,
arc
I know,
of the
but
sun. I'm just talking
someone
about
just
the arc
did.
of the sun, the arc path of the sun.
But that's why it happens.
So-
that's
so
that's
that-
how
so that-
it happens.
Oh my God. Okay. So we've seen things, John. Why would they have to fake it? That's the whole thing. If someone else besides you said that it was the edited version. No, it was presented as the 24-hour sun time-lapse footage.
It
right?
was
And the
looped.
clouds repeated. Okay. Yes, it was looped. That's
Yeah.
weird.
But if you look
To
at
present
if you
that
look at
as
the
an
80
actual
of the
thing.
clouds,
Hold on.
though, it only
Can I
takes
finish,
off like
please?
20 minutes of what would be the time lapse. There's no reason to assume the sun would just set
Brian,
in that
please,
last
Brian.
20 minutes.
Brian, please don't interrupt, though. Please.
Well, let's just chill for a second. A lot of people want to get in. We could do like a queue, like a list kind of thing, or we could also move to the stage channel, which kind of is a little bit
I
easier
just finished
to sometimes
my sentence.
have, but it's good to have it open. But when it's we just have to be really coordinated with this many in one VC that anyone can open their mic. Just give me like 20 seconds here, because just from the topic before, yeah, if you guys want to continue on that, but I just wanted to kind of say, I could pull up the screen share and actually we could do it live, which I've done a bunch of times on the live stream over the last week or two. I could do that all again, but right now, I was actually about to eat some food, so I'm not really going to I'm going to just kind of be listening. But let me just just give me like 30 seconds right now. I'm just going to post this real quick. That's kind of like on a planar surface, but that's roughly at 53 degrees, like Punta Arenas, like, where they landed. See how the arc path of the sun, that yellow dot on that little sphere there, see how the arc path is making that tilted arc? That's rising south of east and coming up, arcing across the sky and setting south of west. So it's already doing that pattern. And then if you look at here, this is now, if you extrapolate that and you continue moving it outwards further, this is now at 80 degrees, like where kind of a Union Glacier type thing. So now you get the 24-hour sun because the arc path just, leveled out. It's just that celestial sphere, as you get closer to the South Pole, as it were, whatever that polar thing is, as you get closer to it, the whole arc path of the whole sky basically starts to level out. And then that's a 24-hour sun in the south effect. Now that's on a planar surface. Obviously it works on a globe too if you take because this is on a planar surface with a celestial sphere.
Geo, am I the